Dude, go and talk to him. What, me? What do you want me to do about it? What do I need to go talk to him? Besides, I'm watching the cows. You can't just walk up and say hi. I mean, look at him. Look how cool he looks. Oh, bunch of women. I will go and say hi. Trello, no. I can't let you do that. You're gonna embarrass us in front of him. Gosh dang it, okay. I'll go talk to him. Wish me luck. O noble leader of men, it is I, Sir Gaines, and I humbly seek an audience with you. Oh, hey, what's up, man? Ranger? It's you? Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Guys, it's Ranger. I thought it was someone who was actually cool. Okay. It's a little hurtful. Yeah, no, we feel real silly because from the light and the hood and everything, we actually thought you were like Aragorn. Oh, really? Aragorn? Well, that's pretty cool. Don't get your panties in a bunch. The moment I saw your stupid little face, I knew you weren't Aragorn. You know, I'm really not enjoying this conversation at all. Oh, no, don't get all bent out of shape, Ranger. We were just looking for Aragorn because we heard that he had spotted a cave troll in the area, and we were looking for a guide to take us to the cave troll. A troll? A troll? Are you guys serious? That seems horribly advised. They are very strong, very fast. Their skin is almost impervious to most of the weapons we have. I think that seems a little ambitious. That won't be a problem for me. Gosh, that is you big blowhard. You're scared of a little bug. Hey, I'm not scared of them. They just have too many legs and they move really fast. It makes me really uncomfortable. Hey, Trollo, I found another bug. Get off, get off, get off, get off, get off, get off. Oh, great. We're all gonna die. Correction, you're probably gonna die. Probably you too, but me, oh, I just looted a brand new GROND, so I'll be fine. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerd and nerdettes. Today we are going into the Tolkien universe where we are going to be hunting some trolls. Now in the Lord of the Rings universe, the trolls are large, unintelligent, very durable, and very tough. In the Lord of the Rings, we first ran into the cave trolls when the Fellowship went into the Misty Mountains, and it was described as their arm and foot was the only thing that was seen, and it was large and scaly, thick. Trolls, the cave trolls, were somewhere between 10 to 18 feet tall, so that would be an extremely large presence, and their skin was very tough. It was kind of noted it was impervious to most of the weapons of that time. Now there were quite a few different kinds of trolls. There were the cave trolls, there were the snow trolls or the ice trolls, there were the rock trolls, there were the ones, the Olghai, I think it was Olghai, that was created by Sauron in order to be his shock troops. They were the most dangerous, the smartest, the most intelligent, and if Treebeard is to be believed, they were created by Morgoth as like a perverted Ent, so to speak. They're not as strong as the Ents, but they're still incredibly strong, durable, and tough. And so we're gonna take the arsenal that I have today, the warbows, and all the weapons, and see how we might fare against a troll. So the way I'm gonna go about this in earnest is I wanna take a really large car tire and I'm gonna cut that together, make it so it's a bit of an arm and a torso and such, and then I'm gonna set it up and I'm gonna have cow femur and bone and ribs behind it. So I'm gonna go through the different type of weapons that I have to see how it penetrates against that thick, solid tire. So I'm gonna check the piercing capability of the weapons I have against that build, but I also wanna check the blunt force trauma against it. So if you had a fantasy type weapon where I'm gonna go and bring out the new GROND and see how that fares, if I'm able to actually cause any internal damage against something that large and that strong. So that took quite a bit longer than I expected. These are really tough tires. If you've ever worked with tires before, tried to cut them, you know that there's a lot of mesh inlay and there's additional wiring in there, so it's really hard to get through. But this is the arm slash leg of our troll here. He's got the white handprint of Saruman on him. So the reason why I went with a large tire like this is because in the books it said it was a large, scaly arm. And this is the closest thing I think you can get to what a natural armor would be. But something like this, I think would be pretty analogous to a thick, tough skin of a troll. I think it'll be a great test for all the different armaments. And as opposed to last time when I had all the characters kind of go in a random order. I'm going to take this as I would as if you're actually trying to conquer a dungeon. So I'm going to have the range characters first, then we're going to go in, I'm going to go into the melee, and for the melee, I have these as well. Obviously they aren't as thick as what a troll would be, but they are beef ribs, and I want to check and see behind like the armor what would happen, because I'm probably not going to penetrate through this. I want to see if I can break something behind it. So Ranger is going to go first. I'm going to check and see how the Warbow does against this here. I'm going to start with the 130. I have the flat bow, the 160 pound bow as well. This is going to be our starting base test here to check and see how it goes. And of course, what adventure is complete without a hobbit? All right guys, listen up. We're gonna have to do this a bit differently than normal. We can't just both go individually. We're gonna have to plan this out as a team. First thing we're gonna do is my bow, soften them up with some long range. You mean your woman's weapon? Woman. My bow, we soften up with some long range. After that, Sir Gaines, you're up. You're gonna bring in Grond, you're gonna break some bones and do some heavy damage, continue to try to incapacitate him. After you slow down, Trollo, you're gonna go in with the axe, you're gonna really try to do some damage to those legs as well, continue to break him down over time. Versus Ganrix, you're gonna be in there as backup. You got the spear for range, you're gonna try and keep him at bay as best as possible. If you need to throw it, you can. I think if we work together as a team, we can probably do this. We're starting with the 130 pound Warbow. I'm using bodkin tips from about 20 yards. And then based on that, if I need to go up in weight, see how much penetration I can get into that thick hide of the troll. Okay. All right, so here are our results. I used 3 different types of arrowheads on that test. I have this one here. Oh, these are gonna be a pain, which was like a leaf tip arrow. So that buried in deeply. The standard bodkin tier did well, but the one that did the best by far was the needle tip bodkin point. That buried in really deep all the way through and into the target. So obviously if something's that large and that strong, it's gonna penetrate into the skin, but it's gonna be sticking out like you see in the movies all the time where they can probably brush it off. Good initial start, just punching through that tough troll skin. So that one's just gonna have to stay in here for the time being as our damage point, because I cannot get that out. The crazy thing is, with the tires, they have that interlined metal mesh. You can see it's actually scratching up the arrows where they're going through as it's passing through. So it's having to pass through the tough rubber and then that metal mesh underlay as well. Ow, my arm. Oh, my arm's stiff today. It hurts. So whenever switching between bows, it's a little harder to get it just right. So this first one was a little high. The other one here, I used more of a spear tip, and that one burrowed in really well. So I'm gonna take this off super fast and see what those results are. My left arm is actually killing me today, so I'm not gonna do the 160 because it's actually really uncomfortable. I don't know what I did to it, but we're gonna switch on, check the results, and move on to some melee. So the Ranger did the damage, he softened them up. Now we're bringing in the heavies. The overall damage was, you can see the needle point went all the way through in here. The other one was right in here. That was with 121 pound flat bow, and that was the spear tip. The needle tip bodkins obviously did the best for sure. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna move on to some brute force melee. All right, well, Ranger did a pretty good job loosening up the cave troll. I, however, am gonna break some bones because I just recently looted from Arm Street, who was kind enough to send me a brand new GROND. We're gonna see what happens if I hit that thing's legs. Now, the way we're gonna test this is I have these ribs here, these cow ribs. It's not gonna be perfect because obviously troll bone would be thicker, it'd be a large femur, but I just wanna check and see if I'm striking this thing in here, if there's enough power to diffuse into it to actually cause a break. All right, so we have our ribs right here. I'm gonna take a few strikes at this thing here, and see what GROND can do. Yeah. So with those initial set of strikes, I was unable to actually crack these bones. So I'm gonna take one more shot at it here and see if I can get through to cause some damage. Okay, so that was a much better showing. I was actually able to get one to stick in through there. It's crazy, you can see that it's actually cutting that up because of the underlying mesh in there. Yeah, it's those three, buddy. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes.
Like this?
No, you have it right. It's 3 fingers, yes. I feel like I hit bone because it actually bent that part in there a tiny bit there. However, when I was looking at the bone, unfortunately, up here I was able to get any breaks in there just yet. So with that mace right there, nothing quite yet. All right, I feel like there's something off with the testing because I think that should have done it. However, before I surrender it over to Trollo with his axe, I'm gonna see how these do, because these are a little more Sir Gain speed, I think. Okay, all right, first up, we're going with the war pick. I think that'll be a good match. All right, so that was definitely a success. I was able to go through this, and you can see it actually punched in through the bone right there. So that was enough to get through the thick skin, let's say, and enough to punch into the bone. So if that was in fact a troll, that would have been enough to cause damage and get in through and cause some real serious problems. That's a win. So I know. So I think that was a good enough demonstration of the arsenal of Sir Gain's. I feel like I got robbed on this one. Maybe I'll try it again later. But before I completely pulverize the bone, I want to see how Trollo does with the axe. Okay, so far we have wounded it, I think. Ranger did a pretty good job. Sir Gain's probably cracked one of the legs. Now I'm going to see if I can do some real work with a man's weapon. Okay, now we see how a man did with a man's weapon. Ha! We have 1 break in the bone, 2 breaks in the bone. 2 solid breaks behind the skin into the bone, like a man. There's a few spots here where I was able to punch through the thick hide into the skin, so it wasn't just blunt force trauma with the axe. I was able to go through everything and cause some real harm. Yo! Suck on it, person. You little bug lover. You know, to be fair, I think we may have gone out of order just a little bit there, Trollo. Appreciate the sentiment, but realistically, I think the spear should go after the arrows, because it's got some range. You can actually do something with it. So we're going to try this out now, but for the record, I think it would have been better to do that. Ha! Do you see that? Shh. There's a hobbit. Hobbit! What you doing over there? Okay, very good. Looking for his bow, like a good hobbit should. Alright, so to soften this thing up, I'm thinking a throw, but there's no reason to be thrown from a long distance away. As long as you can get close enough to do it with maximum power, you're going to want to do it there. So I'm going to be relatively close, quick throw, see if I can get it in there, then run up quickly with the short sword. Alright then, so I don't want to make the same mistake as last time. Borrowed this off a dear friend of mine, and this should probably be better for taking on a monster. So that was much better. Able to get in there pretty good. So I would definitely stick with something like this, especially if you're doing that. Bring one with you, similar to that for your travels and your adventure, to actually slow something down, because once it's in, it's difficult to get out. It's going to slow a monster down just like a shield. Going to bend it on the way out. So yeah, that's a win right there. So this should technically be number 2 after the bow. After the bow, pedum or pedum like javelin, then you can get the heavies in there. You can see where it scratched up the metal there. It's right there. So I went about that deep, but I have a feeling if it was actually a troll, you probably wouldn't be able to get in a fair bit deeper than that. So, valuable weapon number 2. Well everyone, it was a lot of fun out here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Did you forget about me? No, I didn't forget about you, but you didn't seem too happy to be in the last one. Well yeah, you guys are terrible, but you're hunting monsters. Alright, fine. Bring out your silly little swords and see what you can do. Oh yeah, you'll see what a sword can do. Just ask Yennefer. Don't tell her I said that, she'll murder me. So you can see why enchanted weapons are so important in the Witcher universe. Because with steel, they've made some deep gouges in here and here. The penetrating thrusts were able to go in the deepest point to about here. So you need something special, because really hacking at this thing with a sword is a good way to get dead, because you're gonna do minimal damage against it and it can just smash you outright. Okay, now we can finish the video. Special thanks again to Arm Street for reconnecting me with a new GROND. When I reached out to them, they were extremely nice and said, oh, we're so happy, you know, we're so honored that your viewers have a name for it and they love it. So they sent me a replacement. So if you've ever wanted something menacing like this, check them out. But all things considered, I hope you had fun with this one. I probably spent way too much time putting it together, trying to edit it, but it's a lot of fun. And the fantasy world is a fun, great place, and there's no better one than Tolkien. So I hope you enjoyed it. I know the hobbits had fun out here, and I had a blast. See you guys next time. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, instead of clicking on another one, go ahead, exit out of YouTube, turn off the phone, and go create an adventure.